Hello, everyone, and welcome to GHT Time. So, guys, we are going to do our daily recap today for Friday. Don't forget to get your teacups, get your snacks, put your feet up, and let's begin. So, this daily recap is for Friday, January 16th. There was a host of characters in this episode. We had a Liesel sighting. There was Kai and Trina, Anna, Willow's verdict is in, Michael, and a bunch more. So Lisa was in this episode. She was catching up with Brett. I'm kind of glad to see that they're actually talking now because before she was just straight angry with her. I thought it was a little strange that Britt didn't really tell her that somebody snatched her. I don't know why she didn't tell her mother the full story. I understand her leaving out the part about her working on that research for Sidwell, but like what actually really happened to her, she never really told her mother that. But they're going to catch up. It seems like they get on better terms. And then they start talking about Rocco. Someone save me from this because I can't take it. Britt stole Lulu's embryo, had Rocco, and not by choice, not by Lulu and Dante's choice. She has no connection to this child. It is irritating when they go, here's our family. No, he's not. The boy had questions. You answered them. Um, them going to Rocco's games and all that kind of stuff when the family doesn't want them involved is just intrusive. Like, I wish they would really get off the storyline. And it was really weird. Somebody pointed out online that a few years ago when Britt was here and just before she died and everything like that, she didn't spend no time with Rocco. She didn't ask no questions about Rocco. Liesel didn't ask no questions about Rocco. All of a sudden, they all involved in this kid's life. It's really strange. Britt did bring up about how Rocco told her that, he texted her and said, I got off. And then Lisa was like, well, what else was said? Nothing, because he's a teenager. He's not thinking about hanging out with you people. He barely wants to hang out with his parents. So, but them showing up to his games and all types of stuff like that, I just think that's just straight weird. So I really do wish they can get off this storyline. It doesn't make sense. They need to move on. So Kai and Trina got a breakdown from Alexis on why she wasn't able to help. Like she didn't turn Willow in. So I'm glad she just kind of really broke it down to them and said, listen, she can't do that, right? She's going to lose her law license, all this other stuff. That they should go forward. But she did tell them to sit still for 5 minutes. But they should have took that information to Justine, and she would have been able to help them. They had came to her earlier. She was like, she could have sent Diane, Marco, one of them out to help them. But they waited too long because of fear. Um, and now they want her to do Superman stuff, and you can't. But I'm sure somewhere down the line, uh, this is going to come back up again between Kai and Trina, maybe during the custody fight or something. Something's going to come up that these two are actually going to tell the truth, and probably have to face up to that they were actually there when Willow shot Drew. So I'm sure Kai and Trina's part of this has not ended. So Nina and Drew was in this episode, and they're irritating. This is the most irritating folks ever. So Drew is there. Nina comes in. She starts yelling at him as usual, and she's just like telling him how unhinged he looked, which he did look unhinged when he gave his testimony on trial for Willow. And then she brought up the fact that Alexis slipped and told everybody that Willow did it, a slip of the tongue when she was doing her closing argument. So her solution was, if Willow is guilty, comes up guilty, she wants to take over her legal team and get her own lawyers in there. And Drew is just, they were just kind of going back and forth with each other about, who's going to be the better person in Willow's life. Both of these two need to disappear, and they should go off into the sunset together. Honestly, I think that when they paired Drew with Willow, it was just wrong. They should have left him and Nina together because they're both irritating, and they would have made a perfect couple in the sunset. So anyway, that was it for these two. So Michael asked Willow to meet him so they can discuss the option for the children. if she goes to prison. So Michael's there. He's telling her about this program that they have where if she goes to prison, she can see the kids and spend time with them and stuff like that. Willow had a legitimate question. She was like, well, what if I don't get convicted? Can I still see the kids? So Michael put out there what he's been saying since day one, that if you get rid of Drew, then you can see the kids. So back at before, I'm gonna say I can understand what they were trying to say. She was supposedly in love with him. She was like, I want to be with my man and still see my children. But she doesn't love him. So why is she still with him? If that's all it takes to go see your kids, why didn't you get rid of him? Like this old thing that she's getting ready to plot and probably some revenge storyline and stuff. I know it's a lot soapier than that, but it doesn't. Get rid of Drew. You don't like him. You don't want to be with him. Honestly, I really truly believe if she told Michael that she shot him and for what her reasons, Michael probably wouldn't even be mad at her. He probably would let her see the kids. But I know the thing with baby, the baby would probably keep him a little hesitant. But nobody likes Drew, and I'm sure he can understand why somebody would want to shoot him. But let me not digress. I I just don't understand it. I don't understand her staying with Drew at this point. She can get it in writing, have her lawyers write it up, custody agreement, and they can work something out and she can see her children, but she's insistent on staying with Drew, which makes it 0.0 sense. So, follow up with Gio and Emma, after the aftermath of their sexy time. I did really feel bad for Emma. She wants her grandmother back. All right, and no one has answers on where she's at. They're like, oh, she's off on this mission or whatever. But she wants her grandmother to come back. And I just feel really bad for this girl. I think that they need to hurry up and wrap up that storyline and get her grandmother back. Gio decided to go back to school, which is a good thing. So I guess he's going to be living on the PCU campus. I'm going to get the college name right. So he'll be back over there. No music, so I don't know. I guess maybe he'll be a liberal arts major. He's just going to take a bunch of random classes. I don't know what Gio's going to be up to. But to be honest, I'm not saying Gio should be one of those doctors at GH, but they kind of need to start having some of these young people be doctors because the people that are over there now, you kind of got to start filtering in some of the youngins in there. But we'll see what happens where Gio goes with his storyline. Emma says she's going to be a veterinarian, which I think is a good fit for Emma. So it'll be interesting to see them both. I'm not sure if Emma's going to go stay on PCU campus, so we'll see what happens with that too. I really am feeling bad for Emma's grandma. Anna. Anna is locked in that basement. She's not doing well. Her illness is back. And there was a nurse treating her. So the nurse, she thinks the nurse is lethal. When the nurse leaves, she's talking to Pascal. Pascal said, did she believe that she's lethal? And she said, yeah. So they're doing some kind of mind altering something on her brain. And then they started back up, put the cigar in there, which I believe probably belongs to some kind of Faison reference. And also that voice that comes over the loudspeaker. So they're trying to slowly run Anna crazy. And I'm hoping that she uses that training that she has to keep her mind straight and not fall for these little tricks that they have, because Anna got to get herself together so she can get out of there, because no one's looking for her. They don't even realize that she's missing. Well, maybe Brennan might start clicking and actually do something. I don't know. That's a long shot. But if you get a chance, watch my Anna Faison recap video, because this was part of what Faison did to her before. He would do some like mind altering things, messing with her psyche. So definitely take a look at that video, because I think that's where they're going with this storyline. So Dante and Chase was in this episode very briefly. They kind of were catching up, and he said he was telling Dante Chase that he wasn't the one that erased the video. Dante said he wants to believe him, but it has to go through, internal affairs. They have to make sure they do their investigation. But he was also telling Chase that he felt that maybe he didn't do enough. Maybe he was biased against his brother. He didn't want his brother to go to jail. and kind of putting it out there a little bit to Chase, maybe the same, and Chase didn't even get it. He's just, so adamant that Willow didn't do it. And on the side note, forget the investigation, the side investigation that he was doing on his own for Willow. The stuff that he said on his stand about the PCPD, with enough to get him um, uh, suspended, because he basically said they were incompetent. That's why he had to do his own investigation. He threw them all underneath the bus. So he's getting ready to lose a lot of stuff messing with Willow. Okay. Side note, I wish Dante was anything but a cop. I know he's a good guy. He's been a good guy. I've been watching Dante since he first got on the show when Sonny shot him. But I almost see him like they need to kind of progress him into something else. Something about when you're a police officer on these shows, they just kind of suck the life out of the characters. So I kind of want to see him either be kind of skate in the middle or either just be totally bad. Maybe when Maurice decides he wants to retire, Dante can take the reins. But I know that's a little far fetched. Don't beat me up for that one. But I kind of want to see Dante with an edge. How about you guys? Tell me down in the comment section. Do you think you see Dante always going straight and narrow or going off the beaten path? So Willow's verdict is in. I knew they were gonna do Friday with a cliffhanger and or verdict or something was gonna jump out at us. So a lot of people were there. Of course, her lawyer was there. Alexis, Drew, Nina, Kai and Trina is there. They just. Kai actually went up to Michael and said he kind of not apologized for Drew, but kind of just was like, he thinks that Michael's a good guy. I think he's going to pay for that handshake because Drew cannot stand Michael, so I'm sure that's going to come back and bite Kai in the butt. Chase and a slew of other folks was there. So almost everybody was there for this verdict for Willow. I've been screaming for weeks once this trial started. Once I've been to Willow shot him. I know a lot of people are like, no, it's not Willow, it's not Willow, but I don't know. For some reason, I just thought it was her. But as the trial went on, I was like, they're gonna let her off, and then they're gonna do double jeopardy because once anybody finds out that she did it, they can never convict her again because they already tried her on this. So the verdict comes in, of course, the dramatic fact, they open up the envelope and everything, and they read the verdict, and Willow is not guilty, which I knew that's where they were going with the storyline. It makes 100% sense. They're not going to get rid of that actress, at least I don't think they are. I just hope they don't have Willow go down the path of Nell. It's when you write people too closed in like that, then they make it so they got to write you off because everybody just can't stand you, and then it becomes just ridiculous. So if they can get her like in the middle of being a little bit more edgy than she is but not going off the rail crazy, then she should be safe. But if not, oh boy, poor Willow, she may not be on the story long. But yep, Willow's innocent in the court's eyes, but we all know that Willow's not innocent in for real eyes. So anyway, it's going to be funny to see how the storyline plays out because I'm sure it's going to come out somewhere that Willow actually did it. And I mentioned previous video, are they actually going to, if people in town found out, does she get to keep her job? Does she get to see her kids? Um, who knows? I don't know where they're going with this, but I know the next step probably will be revenge because she's going to get back at Michael. She's probably going to get back at that mother, Nina, because Nina thinks she's old. I'm here for my daughter anyway. So I can see some revenge storyline. I think Chase is going to be in the mix and he's going to wind up losing everything. He's going to lose Brooklyn, his job, all of it. I think all of it's going on for Chase. And Drew, oh, I can't wait to see him get kicked to the curb. So let's see what happens soon. So guys, don't forget to hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of the daily uploads. Also, what did you think of Friday's episode? Did the verdict come in the way you thought it was going to come in? Is there any storylines that you would like me to cover? We are doing throwback recaps. I would love to get some ideas on some throwback recaps that you would like to see. But thanks for joining me, and I will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.